You're the new owner of a mid-century home, and your life looks pretty different. Your needs are quite different from the people it was originally designed for. As an architect specializing in mid-century home remodels, I encounter this quite regularly because our lives today have changed quite a lot from the original mid-century home builders. We cook differently, we socialize differently, we work from home a lot more. In the home improvement industry, it's incredibly common to advise making choices based on resale value. But what that means is that you're making choices for your house, paying for them and living with them for the benefit of some future hypothetical person. Here's this residential architect's hot take. If you're going to go to the time, trouble, and expense of making any remodel choices, you should be tailoring your house to fit the life you really want to live in it. That's exactly what we were exploring for this time capsule house that's ready for a new lease on life, covering how you can transform the exterior of your house with a few careful color choices, giving new functionality to a front door entry that has literally never been used because it was such a bad layout to begin with, creating a hostess kitchen, a kitchen for someone who cooks and wants to have people over to eat their food on a regular basis, out of a kitchen that was just your classic mid-century wall-engaged L. How to connect the main floor and the basement in a house where the staircase was outside the main footprint, in the garage, and changing up a 3-bed, 1-bath main floor layout into one that's got 2 bedrooms and 2 baths on the main floor, but still a bonus 3rd bedroom happening in the daylight basement below. I'll share examples specific to this house, but also some universal strategies that you might find useful in your own home. Existing floor plan. The story of this house is that it was built by the current owner's grandparents. The house was lived in for many years by her bachelor uncle, who changed nothing about its form or function. This house is still going to be what it always was in her grandparents' era, the center of hosting for the entire extended family. At the same time, she wants to feel comfortable in this house by herself. She is a hostess cook who wants to be able to make relatively elaborate meals in a kitchen where she can plunk down some guests and have them sit and chat with her and not be underfoot while she gets things done. That's not a lifestyle that's well served by this current layout of an L-shaped kitchen with a kitchen table as the work area, as cute as the original time capsule kitchen is. She wants to solve some design problems that were baked in from the beginning. For example, this terrible entry. Literally no one has ever used the front door, not the owners at any point, never guests, because this hallway is such a tunnel. So everyone comes in through the garage and then in through the kitchen door. We need to give this entry sequence a refresh. So let's talk about what we tried. One thing that's super common for this kind of time capsule house that's been in 1 or 2 owners for a really long period of time is some maintenance breakdowns. And this house needed some siding repair, some repairs to the soffits, a lot of tune-up in general. It has its original stained siding, and I certainly didn't want her to replace it. It can be fixed up, but probably that repair process is going to mean that a stain, which is a little bit translucent, is not a good fit. So a new color, a new paint choice is now available to us. She actually wasn't sure whether she wanted to stay sort of time capsule, vintagey, twee, cute look, like any of these light color options with white trim and white garage door might give, or if she wanted to go for something a little more sleek and modern. So a more monochromatic look, matching the trim of the garage door to the house color, transforms the way this looks. You can see night and day difference. By the way, choosing paint colors is just a tiny part of what we can do inside the master plan process, but it's also something that I get asked about all the time. So I've actually created a free mid-century house color guide to help you not only see what the effects of different color choices might be on your house, but match good color choices to your existing brick, stone, or other masonry. Please, whatever you do, never paint the brick or stone on a mid-century house. Let me just give you this free color guide to help you find a way to choose colors for your house that will work well with them. Head over to midmod-midwest.com/colors and hook yourself up. In some houses, you can plan a remodel room by room, changing the layout within and only inside of each space. In many other cases, though, it's better to think of a house as made up not of rooms, but of spaces, of areas, of connected places where different activities take place. And this is a strategy I use myself in my own design thinking, and I also teach to homeowners who are planning to DIY a master plan in my Ready to Remodel program. This house is a perfect example of needing to think in spaces rather than rooms. To solve the challenges of this layout, a very tunnel-like bathroom, a very tunnel-like entry, kind of chunky spaces in the kitchen that weren't connected to the amazing view out to a ravine behind, and an odd entry at the garage, we needed to be able to borrow from one room to another and shift areas around. A really quick spin through our designs for the social spaces, all of those rooms together of the house, takes you from the least we might do in Scheme 1 up to a middle ground in Scheme 2 with a bit more structural improvement, and then in Scheme 3, the big move, switching the staircase from external in the garage to internal at the center of the house. Even from Scheme 1, we are breaking up that tunnel-like entry hallway just by turning a solid wall into a screen wall. Scheme 2's entry has a similar concept. You can still look through a screen wall at the eat-in area. In Scheme 3, you come in and there's more of a defined vestibule area with storage and a bench right there before you're redirected into the social space. It's sort of pulled back into the back of the house by the light coming in and the views out to the back in this more open Scheme 3 plan. For the design question of how to incorporate the garage-located stair and the existing floor plan into the house, the simplest we could do was just extend the envelope of the house out to include the existing stair exactly as it is. Going one step further, we were able to cut out a bigger mudroom, an actual storage space, kind of a vestibule, and dissolve the boundary around the top of the stairs a little bit so the stair experience wouldn't also feel so tunnel-like. This house originally was filled with tunnel-like passages. In the third scheme, where we moved the stairs out, we actually take a little bit of garage space to plumb in a powder room outside the footprint of the house. To reimagine the kitchen, we were really thinking forward to how she wants to use the kitchen herself alone on a daily basis and how she regularly expects to be hosting family for lunch. The first design move to solve that problem is just to mirror the existing kitchen layout, an L of cabinets on the other side, but preserve the existing refrigerator and oven location for simplicity's sake. And one of my favorite design details, a little built-in L of banquette seating where you can pull up a bunch of people to sit around, or someone can lounge comfortably with their back against a padded bench and have a conversation across this not very big kitchen space with you. Here's the view they might have of you while you're hanging out in the kitchen getting things done. And it substitutes the more modern idea of a narrow kitchen island for what it had in the original house, which was a kitchen table that was also the working, the chopping, the prepping surface of the kitchen. The second scheme has a bit more separated floor plan. There's a bar stool space on the outside of a G-shaped kitchen that really protects the cooking area internally. But this kitchen actually also has space for someone to help you out. I love the detail of a central butcher block piece of furniture to make room for two people to dodge around each other. So if you've got a person who's always coming to your house and saying, how can I help? Where can I chop? This is a layout that helps you move around each other without doing that hip check maneuver of getting in each other's way every time you turn to grab another utensil. In the third kitchen, we sacrificed one of the pass-throughs into the living room beyond to recess the refrigerator, and that gives us space to have a more generous, modern, chonky island, one that's got room for, we put 2 stools here, but you could have any number of bar stools around it depending on how much drawer storage you wanted versus sitting area. And again, a nice practical place for the cook to be working in their own zone and still hanging out with people who are more in the seating and chatting zone. I love how each different scheme has a different amount of view through from the living room. This is closest to the original layout of the house where you can make a full circuit around between the living room and kitchen. In this one, we kind of kept the house masonry intact and shifted everything over with a little bit of storage on one side and a wider opening on the other. This is also separating the hearth from a TV viewing area on the opposite wall rather than putting them both on the same wall. In this third scheme, we proposed bumping up the ceiling in the living room, and then you can see where it drops back down to the regular 8-foot ceiling height, where the structure of the ceiling would make it more difficult and expensive to raise it up. Over on the bedroom, the private side of the house, we're dealing with 3 bedrooms and a small and very awkwardly laid out bathroom. Just imagine if you didn't latch the door just right and someone swung it open to save anyone in here, they would make eye contact with someone sitting on the toilet. Not what we desire. She was looking for something completely different in the bathroom. Didn't need a tub, but actually wanted a roll-in shower and also a vanity counter incorporated in the bathroom if possible, plus a separate powder room for guests so she wasn't including everyone in the extended family into her personal bathroom space every time someone popped by. Here are schemes 1, 2, and 3 at a glance. Feel free to go back and pause if you want to linger on them for longer. The first bathroom gives privacy to the toilet by having a little protective wall between it and the door, and it's got space for both a long vanity counter and a little makeup table with reverse lighting coming in behind you from the window. Scheme 2 puts the toilet all the way at the back. If she were sharing this house with someone, I might recommend a pocket door to give privacy to that toilet to make it its own separate powder room. She still gets both a sink vanity and a makeup counter with lovely daylight. The third bathroom is much more simple to balance out bigger moves in the floor plan in other parts of the house. If you find yourself in this situation, needing to make fairly dramatic changes to some or a lot of your layout so that it suits your life more than it did the original mid-century family it was built for, there's a couple of design things you want to keep in mind to make that process more fluid and open up more possibilities to yourself. The first is, like I said, think of not rooms, but spaces. How are you grouping areas together? How can you borrow a little bit from a bathroom to make a laundry room, a little bit from an entry to make a seating area, a little bit from dining room area to make an entry? When you're not thinking of what you can do within one room and you're not trying to exchange 2 rooms one for one, but rather moving spaces around while paying attention to the structure, you've got a lot more freedom to make big moves and even small ones, subtle ones, that improve the way the space works for you. Next, think about how those spaces connect to each other. Where can you see through and where can you walk through? Those two things don't need to be the same thing. If you've got a really tight constricted space, you might need to make it bigger, or you might just need to give it more daylight or more view connections. In the basement, you can see here in the floor plan, a separating wall hides a little bit of structure and then dissolves a little bit of wall into a screen wall. Here's how it comes out in 3D. By the way, this is another thing I like to consider in a mid-century house. This one had an 8-foot floor to bottom of joist space because it was always designed to be a living space. And the structure, the wood itself was so beautiful. This old growth fir with really beautiful grain in gorgeous shape. All it really needed was a cleaning to be a feature of the house, not a bug and not something that needed to be covered up and hidden. Probably in this image, I should have colored the ceiling joists yellow as well because it's a major wood element in the room to add warmth and texture, just like the slat wall and just like the built-ins over on the right-hand side. There are screen wall elements all throughout. Here they are protecting a little bit of the edge of the TV and whatever's behind it. And here in plan, you can see a screen wall separating the entry from a dining area, both in schemes 1 and in scheme 2. You could even say hello through. You probably wouldn't hold a conversation through it. You'd walk around, but you've got this sense of connection. You know where you can go rather than feeling like you're closed in a narrow hallway. When you're planning new built-ins for a remodel, they don't need to stop in just the kitchen and the bathroom. Letting them blend into the next adjacent space, like here where they turn into dish storage or maybe AV storage on the edge of the living room, we're connecting the kitchen to other spaces beyond its footprint. In this design, the horizontal shelves, which start in the living room, wrap around the corner of the hearth and then are picked up again inside the kitchen as open storage shelving. If there's one thing to take away from this project, it's that you should and can personalize your space. Now, any area of your house that you like that has original built-ins or features can be left alone entirely. If you've got a time capsule bathroom at a part of the house that's working fine for you, leave it be. But don't be afraid if you're going to make a change like tearing out and updating an entire kitchen. The cost of all new kitchen cabinets is going to be close to the same whether you're just putting them back exactly how they were or extending, relocating, and expanding them slightly. This is your big opportunity to plan for the way you cook, 2 cooks cooking at the same time. In this case, 1 cook who always wants to have guests hanging out with her, chatting with her, not standing with her back to those guests as she works. Whatever your personal situation is in your kitchen, in your living spaces, in your hosting scenarios, in your work from home spaces, your house should be well set up to suit you in that way. If thinking about personalizing too much trips your "oh no, what about the resale value" worries, then think about it this way. If you know you're in a temporary job, you're going to be here 1 year, 2, even 5, and you know you're going to be moving on, you will make less personalized, less intensely tailored choices for your house. You might not even choose to remodel it at all. You might just look for the place that works well enough for you right now. But if you're thinking of your house as your forever home, as many of my mid-century remodel clients do, why would you deprive yourself of living in a house that really homes you, a house that really contains all the activities of your daily life? And when you're thinking about how your life is different from the people who lived in this house originally, it's perhaps very easy and one-to-one for this person to think about how her life is different from her grandparents' life, but you might imagine the people that lived in your house when it was built in the 50s or the 60s. Why would you imagine that the next owners of the house are going to be more similar to those original owners than they are to you? Instead, personalize your house with a home office, with a cook's kitchen, with 2 bedrooms upstairs and a guest space downstairs, assuming that the next owner of this house might very well live a life that's a lot like yours, or choose the house specifically because it's better suited to their life than all of the generic resale value houses out there. The master plan method always starts from 3 core pre-designed questions. What you want your life in the house to be in the future, what the house is right now and where it stands on maintenance status or repair needs, and the aesthetics of the house, both what it is right now and your mid-century taste. Putting those together to test out options that will really tailor the house to fit your life are so powerful to help you see options that are going to help you make small changes, medium changes, or big changes. If you've been thinking about remodeling your mid-century home, then I hope you will use this as a permission structure to really consider tailoring the house to the life you want to live in it. And if you want some help to make that happen for your home, let's talk about it. Reach out today. Just go to midmod-midwest.com/masterplan. Stay tuned for next week's video when I'm going to be talking about a super common problem, which is a house that was pretty intensely remodeled in this case, the mid-90s. We're talking teal Formica countertops, oak everything, and a hot tub addition off the owner's bedroom. This is not the first time I've encountered that problem, and it won't be the last, but let me walk you through how to solve it in this video.